Yes, okay. So I may not be able to see you in the camera. So if you all can put, will you all be comfortable putting something in the chat? Okay, fine. So we can begin with a very simple question as to what is diabetes. Okay, I know everybody will tell me high blood sugar, right? Any other answers you all can put in the chat box. Any other answers you all may have? Yes, we have some answers. Okay. Yes, Claire's has diabetes.
Errol and Sally has also raised their hand.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's very difficult to share and see the raised hands. So I think that's not a good idea. Okay. So diabetes, even though the manifestation that we see is high blood sugar, it is much more than that. You know, actually, diabetes is more of a disorder of the blood vessels. What happens in diabetes is that over a period of time, if our sugars are not controlled, our blood vessels get affected. So all of the complications of diabetes that we see are because of damage to these blood vessels. Now, when will you say that you have diabetes? What should be your fasting blood sugar? Above what level should your fasting blood sugar be? And on the basis of that, I would say that you have diabetes. What is the cutoff? Anybody?
110.
Okay, 110. Any other answers? Nobody? Everybody agrees with 110? Okay. Yeah. So if your fasting blood sugar is above 126, then we say that you have diabetes. Okay. So that is the cutoff that we generally use. Now, if you have diabetes, okay, then we'll say obviously that we want you to target your blood sugar below 126, because that is what we will consider to be normal. Okay. But we always individualize for the patient. Now, the main sugar, the main sugar that goes up in people with diabetes is the sugar 2 hours after food. So what should your sugar 2 hours after food be?
140.
Okay. Okay, 140. Any other answers? Some chat. 110, 140. Okay. So everybody here is very, very strict about their diabetes. Okay. So we say that if your sugar after food is above 200, then you have diabetes. Okay. But in this case, when we talk about targets, it's not just we go for stricter targets and we say you should try to keep your fasting blood sugar as low, your postprandial blood sugar as low as possible. As you mentioned, 140 is a very good range to keep, but even below 180 or below 160 is okay. Do you all know what is Hba1c?
Yes.
Hba1c is what?
3 months.
3 months average.
Yes, it is the 3 months average of your blood sugar. Okay, how well your blood sugar has been controlled over the last 3 months. Okay, so our target Hba1c is 6.5, but we relax it to below 7% for most of our patients, because our aim is that we have to achieve the lowest possible Hba1c as close to the target with as less medication and as less side effect. Okay, so that is the aim. This is the aim of diabetes management. Now, you all have heard of a condition called pre-diabetes? Yes? Yes. Now, why I have included pre-diabetes is that everybody who has diabetes, you all should warn your first degree relative. So when I say first degree relative, I mean your immediate family members, your children, your sisters, your brothers, that they should get themselves screened every year for their blood sugars. And if they are at a borderline, if they are in the stage of pre-diabetes and they follow a good and a healthy lifestyle, then there is a very good possibility that they can delay the onset of diabetes by 5 to 10 years, or maybe even completely prevent the onset of diabetes. That is why the screening for pre-diabetes, which doesn't happen in our country, because we all pay from our pocket, we don't have a centralized government healthcare system, so we all pay from our pocket, and that is why at least the high risk patients should try to monitor themselves every year. So when we say pre-diabetes, what are our cutoffs? Your fasting sugar, if your fasting sugar is above 110, we say you are in the pre-diabetic range. If your sugar after meal is from 141 to 199, then we say you're in the pre-diabetic meal range. And if your HbA1c is from 5.7 to 6.4, then we say that you are in the pre-diabetic range. Okay. Now, the reason why I've included both diabetes and pre-diabetes is because when we talk about lifestyle modification or healthy lifestyle, the principles are similar for both. Okay. Yes, you may have a little leeway when you're in the pre-diabetes stage. You may have to be a little bit more strict when you're in the diabetic range. Okay. But the basic principles would remain the same in either of the two situations. So that is why I've included both of these definitions. Okay. So for all of you who have diabetes, you should warn your immediate family that I have diabetes, so our family does carry the gene. So you all should get yourself screened at least every once a year. If it's a very young individual below 30, then we can say you screen yourself every 3 years. And if it is above 35, then we say you screen yourself every year. Now, why is there so much talk about diabetes? Why has diabetes become so scary? Is because of the large numbers that we are seeing here. So this is a little bit of a, difficult slide to read, but the reason I've kept it is because I wanted you to see the numbers. If you look at this, China is first as usual. China is first. It beats India and everything. So India comes second when we talk about the number of diabetes patients. And we have 77 million people living with diabetes. We expect, this is 2019. Okay. So COVID has been no friend of diabetes, no friend of our health, just give me a second. Okay. Just 1 second.
Okay.
I'm very sorry for that. Okay. Yeah. So if you look at these numbers here, and we expected in 2019 by 2030 the numbers will cross 100 million, but I'm sure the numbers have gone up because COVID has been no friend of our health, as I mentioned. Okay. And one last slide before we come to the actual matter that you all are here to listen to is, why should we treat diabetes? Any of you all have any answers for this as to why should we treat diabetes?
It has a lot of other complications attached to it.
Yes.
And if not treated, then we would be a victim of all those other organ failures.
Absolutely. Anybody would like to name the complication? Any of you all? You all can unmute yourself and answer.
Can have a kidney failure.
Yes. Kidney failure. Yes.
There is diabetic neuropathy.
Diabetic neuropathy.
Yeah, damage to the eyes.
Yes. Very nice.
Kidney.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diabetes is a silent killer.
Yes. Where did you pick that up from?
No, I've known about it. That's
Okay. Why is diabetes called a silent killer? Have you ever wondered?
because you really do not know what harm would be done to your internal organs. We cannot see our internal organs.
Yes.
Therefore, when we fail in every organ, then we go to the doctor, and then the doctor says, test this, do this, x-ray, that. And finally, you come to know your organs are damaged.
So what happens, is the early stages when the damage has started happening, we don't get any symptoms. So
Yeah,
we don't
that's true.
realize that there is some damage happening. And by the time the symptoms appear, there is so much damage done that no medication can help us. So absolutely, I think you all have nailed it. So every single part of the body can get affected, from brain to heart to eyes to kidney to nerves to blood vessels. Even the skin can get affected, even the liver can get affected. So everything is interconnected. In fact, nowadays we are talking about something called as cardiometabolic spectrum. So all of these diseases related to diabetes, they fall in the same category because all of them come from the same soil. That is a poor lifestyle. Okay. And when we treat when we follow a healthy lifestyle, we not only prevent diabetes, we also prevent hypertension. We also prevent cholesterol issues. We prevent the occurrence of heart attacks. We prevent the occurrence of stroke. That is why following at least a healthy lifestyle, at least 60 to 70%, if we follow, it can give us numerous health benefits. Okay. So there are broadly two types of diabetes. I'm sure you all are aware that there is a type 1 diabetes, which is completely dependent on insulin, and then there is a type 2 diabetes, which is what we are currently talking about. And I'm not going to go through the risk factors. You all know. I just wanted to show you all a picture. Okay. So are you all familiar with this? Have you seen this around?
Yes, most of
Yes,
us.
we have.
Yeah, I know. It's there in my family also. I will not, So this is typically seen in India. What we see is we only gain weight around the stomach. We don't gain weight in the hands. We don't gain weight in the legs. We only gain weight in this around the stomach. Now, what happens is, because you gain weight around the stomach, this weight is called this fat is called as bad fat. Okay. And all of this fat then goes and surrounds our internal organs, like it will go around the liver, then it will go around the heart, it will go around the muscle. And what it does is it interferes with the functioning of the organ. So the fat which goes around the liver and other places is called as visceral fat. So what we see in India is we have a higher body fat percentage and we have a higher visceral fat percentage. So although we look thin, our weight is not as high as it would be for the Europeans or the Americans, but we get more of these diseases because we have a lot of bad fat. We are genetically predisposed to it because we are not used to, our body is not made for the kind of Western lifestyle that we are all following, or the kind of Western food that we are all eating nowadays. So so that is why we see a lot of thin people here getting diabetes, because we are lean fat Indians. Indians are called as lean fat people because even if they are thin, they have a higher amount of fat in the body. That is a genetic predisposition. Okay, so there's a very famous author called Jonathan Swift. I hope you all have heard of him. And he's given a very interesting quote. He says that the best doctors in the world, it's not us, it's Dr. Diet, Dr. Quiet, and Dr. Merriman. Would you all agree with this?
Yes.
Yes. So there are four main pillars of lifestyle modification or healthy lifestyle. It is food, exercise, sleep, and stress management. Okay. So when we talk about food, we all always think about taste. You know, we all sit in our living room and we talk about the different kinds of food we ate, or the different kind of food our daughter-in-law prepared, or the different kind of food we went to the restaurant to eat, and we only talk about the taste. Okay. We forget why we are eating food in the first place. What is the goal of eating? Okay. What is the point of eating? The point of eating is to maintain health. The point of eating is not the taste. The point of eating is the nutrition that we are getting from the food. So instead of thinking only about the taste, why don't we all consider, oh, I'm getting so many vitamins from this vegetable? You know, why don't we think, oh, I'm getting healthy proteins from this? Why don't we think, oh, I'm also getting healthy carbohydrates? I'm getting so much fiber from this food. We only think about taste. Okay. So our whole perspective for food is about the taste. We don't think that food actually is so important in our life. You know, it is about sustainability. It is about how we look. It is about how our body feels, how our energy levels are. We don't consider any of that while eating. So when we talk about food, let us also think of what are the goals of eating. Okay. We want to maintain body weight, we want to achieve weight loss, or you know, if you're very thin, you want to achieve muscle, so you want to eat good amount of protein, you want to maintain good sugar level, you want to maintain a good blood pressure, you want to avoid or delay complications of diabetes. Your food, your plate should be well balanced. It should have vegetables, it should have protein, it should have carbohydrate, and it should have some amount of good fat. Okay. So when we talk about the general rules that you have to follow in diabetes, okay, this is for diabetes, is you should say no to fasting or feasting. So instead of having a lot of unhealthy food at a time, you create a balance for yourself. You allow yourself to occasionally feast and in limited amounts, and you compensate the feast with a lot of vegetables and a lot of uh, healthy non-fried food along with it. Okay, you should say no to sugar, honey, or jaggery. All three of them, even though honey has some additional qualities, jaggery has some additional quantities, but in terms of blood sugar, all three of them will raise your blood sugar. Okay, you should completely avoid cold drinks, fruit juices, okay, sharbat. Completely avoid that. If you crave something juicy, have a fruit. Okay, and stop smoking. I don't know what else to say, but stop smoking. That's it. Nothing more, nothing else. Just stop. No reducing the number. No only smoking. Occasionally. Completely stop. Okay. Things which you should avoid. You should avoid very large amounts of alcohol at a time. You know, you can have one or two pegs. That's okay. But the kind of culture we have nowadays, especially in youngsters, where they go binging, is not healthy. It is, and especially if you have diabetes, it can be very, very counterproductive because it can push you into a low blood sugar, which may lead to hospitalization. Okay. Avoid fried food. Okay. Avoid high soda containing food means bakery products. You know, all of our biscuits, butter, all of them have a lot of baking soda, and baking soda increases blood pressure. Avoid fruit juices. If you do, you know, refined flour is maida, packet foods, and red meat should be eaten in restricted quantities because red meat has a lot of cholesterol and it has a very, very heavy load of protein, which may not always be good for kidneys of a person with diabetes. So these are some small tips. Okay, try to take small meals, and maybe you can have many meals in a day, so you balance your sugar levels. Okay, try to maintain the timing of your meal. Do not completely fill yourself. Always leave a little bit gap. You know, you should not be completely full. Okay. Enjoy your meals. Your meals should be unhurried. They should be focused on food, not on the TV or newspaper, with proper chewing of food. Okay. Make your meal time your family time. You know, nowadays all of us sit on the table, everybody's on their phone, or somebody's talking on the phone and the other two people are just waiting for that person. So let's make our meal our family time. Let it be a time when we interact with our family. We ask them about how their day was. Okay. Try to eat a lot of vegetables. Every meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, you try to include a serving of vegetables. Okay. And if you have diabetes, ideal recommendation is you should have up to 2 servings of fruit a day, not more than that. Okay, for a person who is pre-diabetic or non-diabetic, you can have fruits in larger quantities. There's no harm. Okay, and try to have whole grain cereal flours. Okay, so instead of going for refined flours, you go for whole grain flours. Okay, so whenever you go to buy a bread, instead of a normal bread, you try to buy a multi-grain bread, or you try to go for a whole wheat bread. Okay. So those are the kind of options you should choose. So what are the different snacks that you all usually have? Anybody? What are the different snacks you all consume? What is your favorite snack?
Diet
Chips.
soda.
Chips.
Chips.
Dried fruit.
Okay. Anything
Diet
else?
soda.
Diet
Jadalu.
soda. Okay.
Jadalu.
Chana.
Dates.
Dates. Okay.
Jadalu.
Monkey nuts and chana.
Jardalu.
Yeah. Monkey nuts. Chana.
Okay.
Singdana.
Yeah. So chana is here. Nobody likes popcorn.
Fox nuts also.
Popcorn.
Makhana.
Yes, makhana is there on the next
Makhana.
page.
You can have
Popcorn.
flaxseed.
पॉपकॉर्न नहीं अच्छा लगता किसी को? No?
हम
Okay.
लोग नहीं खाते.
Carrot. Beetroot.
Yeah,
Carrot.
you can have a lot of salad. You can make a dip with dahi. You know, add pudina, add some herbs and make a dip. You can add onion to it. मशरूम खाते हैं आप लोग?
नहीं, मैं कभी नहीं खाया.
नहीं खाया?
Yes.
नहीं अच्छा
नहीं.
Yes,
लगता?
I have mushrooms.
You
Yes, we eat mushrooms.
Yes, mushrooms are
Mushroom
very
soup.
healthy for people with diabetes.
Mushroom soup I have.
Yes. So mushroom is very low in carb. And it is very high in fiber. So if you like mushroom, it is a great snacking option. You know, you can make some, just saute it or make a soup as you have. फिर अगर आपने रायता बनाया है लंच में, तो अभी समर सीजन है, you can have raita as a snack. Okay. So these are just some snacking options. You can also have paneer. Okay, घर पे बनाया हुआ पनीर या फिर लो फैट पनीर, आप थोड़ा सा 50 grams जितना चाट मसाला डाल के, that is also a good snacking option. Okay, so these are just a few snacking options I thought I would include, which you can probably include in your week, maybe once or twice or thrice as you.
Popcorn is good for snacking. I thought it was not good.
So popcorn is actually, you know, very light and it's good, but not in the amount that is shown in the picture. You have to have a bowl of it, and you try to make it at home. So जो बाहर का popcorn होता है, they add a lot of butter. That is what makes it very unhealthy. So you can have, आप घर पे बना के बॉटल में भर के रखो, जैसे हम कुरमुरा बनाते हैं, जैसे you can have a bowl of popcorn if you want to munch on something.
You can have different seeds also.
Yes, seeds are very, very healthy, good fat. So
Flax
you get
seeds
seed
also.
mixtures nowadays. Yeah, you can have flax seeds, sunflower seeds, watermelon seeds, सब mix करके वो लोग देते हैं. Chia seeds. Okay.
Dates are bad for diabetes, right? They have sugar content, no?
Dates have a high amount of sugar. So
Yeah.
ideally you can have date instead of a fruit, because date also has good amount of fiber and iron. So we always say that if you're having a date, don't have more than 2 dates at a time. and you combine it with some nuts, like साथ में you have little badam or you know 5-6 almonds with 3 or 4 walnuts, and you have it as a snack. So then you don't take any additional snack on top of that. Then it's okay. Then it will not raise your sugar too much. Okay, these are soya nuts. This is tofu actually, if you all like tofu. Okay. So this is actually a picture I had taken in 2019. Can anybody guess what is happening in the picture?
Railway station.
All are
Yes.
using the elevator.
Everybody is on the escalator, and look at the staircase.
So too much of hurriedness, lot of stress, too much of quick.
So this is the reality of our life today. You know, we all use the escalator. We don't take the staircase. So we don't give any cush to our body. Now you see, all of these are young people. If they're if they're traveling by train, you know, this is actually a picture taken on Goregaon station. And I was also amazed that there was a huge queue to get onto the escalator, and the staircase is completely empty. You know, but this is the truth. This is what is happening to all of us. So inactivity is a silent killer, and there is increasing evidence that sedentary behavior such as sitting or lying down for long periods is bad for health. Okay, and this is just a joke as to how this person, because he's continuously sitting, is stuck on the sofa. There was in 2018. Okay, so there's a joke that if I could give you exercise in the form of a tablet, it would be the most effective or cost effective drug ever made. You know, so people keep on complaining of how expensive medicines are, but the one medicine which is freely available is highly underused, and that is the medicine of exercise. Okay, exercise doesn't mean that you have to go to the gym and you have to work out. You know, you can do very, very small things in your day to day to increase your activity levels. So exercise has a lot of benefits. It helps with weight management. It helps with reducing risk of various diseases. It also helps to lower the risk of falls because it keeps your muscles and your joints in a state of health. Okay. It also lowers the risk of depression and Alzheimer's disease. Okay. One of the best ways to lower the risk of Alzheimer's disease is to solve puzzles. Okay, which is brain exercise, and it helps to improve quality of sleep. Okay, and several other benefits. Now in 2018, the American Diabetes Association actually came out with a statement. They said that sitting is the new smoking, because they did a study and they realized that all the adults, you know, who, especially the ones who are working or even the ones who are not, they are sitting for 12 hours a day. Okay, so imagine you have 24 hours in a day. Out of that, 8 hours you sleep. 12 hours, probably, you know, on 12 hours you're working, or 8 hours you're working, or 8 to 10 hours. And the rest of the time you're watching TV, getting ready, you know, doing your daily other activities. So there is no, you know, there's no movement of your body that is happening. And that is why they wanted to create more awareness that we should try to do everything ourselves. Okay, we should try to keep our body active. We should try to keep moving, you know, and we should avoid sitting at one place for continuous periods of time. Now, COVID was a very, very, yeah, somebody wants to say something? COVID was a very, very unfortunate incident that has happened. It had, you know, locked us indoors, and in Mumbai, we don't have as much space. So I do understand that the last 2 years were very difficult in terms of trying to maintain physical activity. Now, the recommendation is that you do 45 minutes of walking at least 5 days a week. You should try to walk at a speed which makes you slightly tired, that you can't speak very comfortably. Okay, so moderate intensity is what is recommended. So you can still talk, but you can't sing while walking. That is how you judge, because everybody has their own speed. Okay, if you feel you're physically capable, of doing more, then you can try to go for a little bit more vigorous activity. Okay, so any exercise that makes your heart rate go up, makes you breathe faster, and makes you feel warmer is a good exercise. Okay. Sorry. So as I mentioned, sit less and try to improve your balance. Now you can do very, very small things in your day-to-day activities. So one of the smallest things you can do is that every time you want to go and get a glass of water, you go yourself, instead of asking help from other people. Another very, very age-old practice is to walk for 15 minutes after every meal, as long as you don't have any heart condition. Okay, so after breakfast you walk for 15 minutes in the house only. After lunch you walk for 15 minutes, and after dinner you walk for 15 minutes. It's a very age-old practice. It is called as Shatapavli. Okay, walking after meals. And it doesn't have to be a brisk walk. It is just a stroll, just to make yourself active. Okay, now if your body is supporting you, you should try to use the staircase as far as possible. Avoid taking the elevator. Again, I said if your body is supporting you. Okay, now as you grow older, we face different kinds of problems. We face problems with joints, we face problems with balance, and one of the biggest issues that we see is that the muscle becomes very flabby. Our muscles get replaced by fat. So one of the exercises or one of the practices that help in this situation is yoga. It is very, very safe. It helps to improve balance. It helps to improve flexibility. Okay, if you are open to going to the gym, then you can do very, very low intensity exercises there. You have to make sure to tell your trainer the same thing. Okay, so we want to maintain flexibility and we want to improve balance so that we remain mobile for a long, long time, and we remain independent for a long, long time. Okay, if you have access to a swimming pool, then that is probably one of the best activities that you can do if you know how to swim. Before you go for any exercise plan, you have to get approval from your doctor. Okay, because if you have any kind of a heart condition that restricts you, then that should be taken into consideration. If you have any advanced complication of diabetes, then that should be taken into consideration. Okay. So Dr. Jocelyn is considered to be the father of diabetes in the world. Okay, and he has a very famous quote. It says that it is better to discuss how far you have walked than how little you have eaten. Okay, it has a very it's a very philosophical quote, but if you take it literally, it has a lot of meaning when it comes to anybody who is living with diabetes. Do all of you all sleep well?
Yes,
Good.
I do.
No,
Very
no.
nice. Not so much.
I sleep too much.
You sleep too much. You're blessed.
I sleep too little.
You sleep too little. Okay. So in the last, I think 2 or 3 years ago, the person who won the Nobel Prize, he actually demonstrated that there is a connection between altered sleep schedule and all of these diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, heart problem. So maybe it doesn't apply so much to you guys or to me, but it applies a lot to the children nowadays. Because if you look at the teenagers, I'm sure if you all have grandkids or kids, their whole schedule is off the chart. They sleep at 2-3 o'clock in the night, they wake up at 12 o'clock in the morning, and we don't know what this kind of behavior, what kind of changes it is making to their body, because this is probably going to continue for the next 10 years till they start office, because then they don't have a choice. Okay. Or if they are working, or people who are working in the corporate, they are working too much, they don't have time to sleep. So sleep actually has come out as a very, very important component of a health seeking behavior. So we should all try to aim for good sleep, and we should try to sleep for at least 6 to 8 hours a day. Of course, every person has a different requirement. So you have to individualize. There are some people who are okay with only 5 hours of sleep, and that's absolutely fine. That's their requirement. Okay. So it's a cycle that if you don't sleep well, you feel tired. You feel tired, your brain gets signals that, okay, you need to eat. Because you're tired, you need to eat, you need to gain more energy. So you eat energy dense food to feel energetic. And you eat more, you eat more, and then your sugars go high. Okay. And you gain weight. So there is a direct connection between sleep and obesity as well. So the very simple thing that you can do for yourself is to maintain a sleep hygiene. Like how we have a daily hygiene, we wake up, we brush our teeth, we have our tea, coffee, we take bath, we, go to the temple or do our puja or do whatever our ritual is in the morning. Similarly, you should create a hygiene for sleep. Okay. One of the most important behaviors that you should follow is you should sleep and wake up at the same time every day. Okay. If you're somebody who doesn't get sleep in the night, you have time, you take time falling asleep, then you should try to correlate it with the drinks that you're having. Are you feeling like that when you're having coffee in the evening? Are you feeling like that when you're having tea? A lot of the soft drinks have caffeine content. Smoking can also impair sleep. Alcohol makes you sleepy, but it impairs the quality of sleep. So you don't feel refreshed even after sleeping, after consuming alcohol. So what you can do is you can avoid tea, coffee in the late evening. You can avoid alcohol, and then you can actually see the difference for yourself. So you'll be able to pick out what exactly is the factor that is affecting your sleep. Okay. Your bedroom should be a place for sleeping. It should not be a place for watching TV. Okay. Establish a relaxing pre-sleep routine. So what do most of us do while we go on the bed?
Read to get sleep. Read.
Okay.
Get
WhatsApp.
Sleep. WhatsApp.
Yeah. Anything. Okay. So I also do that. I will not, pretend that I'm very disciplined, but it is a very, very bad habit. Okay. So the blue light that comes from our phone actually inhibits sleep. It kind of confuses our brain, because our brain is not able to differentiate between blue light, which is coming from the mobile, and actual light. Okay.
What about reading?
Can I
Reading
just,
is fine. You can read. Absolutely.
Doctor, can I interrupt with
Yeah.
regards to this looking at the mobile? Though I have seen it in many messages that, looking at the mobile before going to sleep interrupts sleep. But in my case, I can't even look at the mobile for a long period because it puts me to sleep.
So you're lucky.
I don't
You're
know
lucky.
lucky or not, but I have so much of sleep that I'm not able to do anything.
You should try to exercise. So
Yes,
what
but
I
there's
think
so
is
much of
happening in
worry.
your case is that even your quality of sleep is not good. That is why you're not feeling fresh enough, and that's why you keep feeling sleepy.
Maybe.
So exercise will, if you go for a walk in the late evening, it may help you improve that quality.
The only thing that helps me keep awake is caffeine. Like if I drink coffee, I'm able to be alert and do some work. for a longer
Okay.
period of time. Otherwise, nothing else helps me to keep awake. I just go on sleeping. There are times when I slept after breakfast and got up the next day also.
Oh my God. So then you should really get yourself looked at once by someone.
Yeah, I'm on multivitamin tablets and protein and all that because of this kind of weakness.
Okay. 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 So
For health, doctor, we take so many tablets. Is it good for us?
Stop it, but stop all of that, daddy doctor. I'll kick you back.
so it depends on what the tablets are given to you for. You know, you don't have to just pop the pill like that. But if it is if it is needed, then you should be
Prescribed by the
taking the tablet.
doctor. They're prescribed by the doctors.
Yeah. So see, the thing is that the tablets that we use for diabetes, blood pressure, they are usually very well tested and they don't cause any harm to the body in the long run. They are meant for that they are meant to be taken lifelong. That is how those tablets come out in the market. Okay. So in the doses that they are prescribed to you, they don't really cause any harm. And whenever any medicine comes out or any medicine is tested, we always look at the risk versus benefit. Okay. So the risk of damage to the body from high blood pressure or high blood sugar is so high that the small risk that you have from taking the tablet is acceptable. And that is how this whole system works. And that is why the doctor always tells you to come for a follow-up on a regular basis, so that if at all you develop any kind of a side effect, the moment immediately the tablet will be changed. Now mind you, none of these tablets which you take for life, you know, the tablets which are made to be taken lifelong, they will not cause any, they generally do not cause any permanent damage. Okay. Because those kind of tablets will not reach the market only, they at the level of the research phase only they are withdrawn. And we have so when it comes to tablets for diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, they generally are quite safe. I will not say that they have no side effects, but those side effects are not life threatening. Okay. Okay.
Doctor,
So
Doctor, is it true that, I was told by my doctors that I'm taking tablets for pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes, and my creatinine level has gone high. Is it because of the tablets?
so I don't. So generally, if your creatinine has gone up, it's probably because of diabetes and blood pressure combination. But what the tablet itself will not push up your creatinine. Okay. There is one blood pressure medication which can push up the creatinine, but it's a reversible thing. So we stop the tablet if that happens. Okay. Now, when your creatinine goes up, we have to make certain tablet changes for diabetes and blood pressure, not because those tablets are going to worsen your creatinine, but it's because the side effects of those tablets may be much more pronounced, because your kidney is not functioning as well as it should. It's not throwing out the tablet at the rate that we expect it to throw out. So when we talk about changing medications for diabetes and blood pressure, it's because of this reason. It's not because that tablet is going to worsen your kidney issue.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm going to go through the stress bit a little fast and maybe take more questions. Okay. So when we talk about stress, most of the times the stress is created by us. Okay. Because all of us have stresses in life. And sometimes there are two people who may have the same situation, but the stress depends on their reaction. Okay. So man is disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. Stress is created by the way you react to a situation and not by the situation itself. Okay. That is why sports, when you play sports, they teach you so much about temperament. And when you look at really successful sportsmen, you look them on the court and you realize that they never get angry. That is why their brain is continuously functional. Okay. Always remember that you are a valuable, important member of your family, your community, and your world. Diabetes does not measure your value, but your humanity does. Okay. There is this serenity prayer that I had come across when I was reading a book that was actually written by a person with diabetes, and I really thought that I had adopted it. I thought it really helps, and that is why I wanted to share it. That whenever you feel stressed, whenever you feel that you're not able to do things the way they should happen, you should always say this small prayer to yourself. You say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because we cannot change everything. We cannot change other people. The only person who we have control over, the only person who we can change is ourselves. Okay. So the
May
only
I ask a
way,
question, please?
yeah, please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, please ask.
See, I read in the newspaper that this transplant is taken place. Now, if that transplant is there, it is in the chat box also. Then
Yeah, I
can
saw.
one
I
be?
was going to come to the question at the end of it. Yeah.
So in that case, can he be free from diabetes for the whole life in case of this transplant?
Uh, okay. So pancreas transplant is a very, very risky surgery. Okay. So pancreas transplant happens. It is happening. There is a doctor in Pune who's advanced, who's an expert in the field, and they do a pancreas transplant. But they only do it in patients who probably, if they do, who are undergoing a kidney transplant. So they do a pancreas and a kidney transplant together. Okay, because they save, they do it together in one surgery, because pancreas transplant is very, very risky. So only people who've developed terminal complications, who probably will manage to save their life with the pancreas transplant, are the ones who are selected for it. One. Second, pancreas as an organ is very, very rarely available, because I cannot donate my pancreas to you. You're getting it? I can die of the surgery. It's very risky. So we only have pancreas from dead bodies, cadaveric pancreas, that are available, and they are not available in a very large amount. Okay. Third, there is no guarantee that after the transplant you will be completely off medication. If you are somebody who's taking insulin, then yes, your insulin may stop. But nobody will give you guarantee that we completely, you will absolutely require no medication. But we have seen, I've seen only one such patient, and he was a type 1 diabetic. He was 38 years old. He had two angioplasties done. He'd gone into kidney failure. He was on dialysis, and he went for the kidney pancreas transplant. He survived for 5 years after that. Okay. So pancreas transplant is so risky that it is not. So when you talk about medication and the risk of medication, it's like that. It is too risky for me to prescribe it to any person who's maintaining his blood sugars. I'm probably going to push him towards a very risky procedure. So yes, pancreas transplant is being done in the world, but we select our patients very carefully. And if you undergo any kind of a transplant, you have to be on immunosuppressants lifelong. When you are on immunosuppressant medications, they have their own side effect profile, which is much worse than the anti-diabetic drugs that you're taking. So it doesn't make any sense in prescribing a pancreas transplant to a person who doesn't have very advanced disease. That's the whole philosophy of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so the way to deal with stress is positive thinking and meditation. And of course, you try to develop hobbies. Okay, when we were kids, when we are all in school, we do different kinds of extracurricular activities, and then as we become adults, we forget about those. But when you enter the second inning of your life, that is the time you should start doing things for yourself. And there is absolutely nothing wrong in that. You can, any hobby that you think of, or any unfulfilled hobby of yours that you never got a chance to learn, you do it now. Okay, because this is the time to start living for yourself, fulfilling all those wishes that you thought you couldn't do earlier. Okay, I'm not going to go into the details of the steps of meditation, but I am going to leave you with a very nice Tibetan proverb that I had come across. Is the secret to living well and long is to eat half, walk double, laugh triple, and love without measure. Thank you. So what I'll do is I'll stop share, and maybe we can have a few questions. It's already 1 o'clock, so maybe another 10 minutes.
Yes, doctor, you can take your time.
So anybody has questions, anything?
Joyce from Cochin, you have any question?
Doctor, are cramps common in diabetes? Cramps in the legs?
Cramps in the legs can occur because of diabetic neuropathy. And otherwise also, as you grow older, because your bones become weak, cramps are commoner. So one of the things you can do is you drink lots, at least 2 to 3 liters of water in the day. So the most common reason for cramps is that we don't drink enough water.
Okay, thank you.
Doctor, is diabetes reversible?
Golden question. Diabetes is reversible in very few patients. Okay, one, it is very difficult to reverse because your lifestyle becomes so restricted that to lead a normal social life becomes tough. Third, even if we manage to reverse a person's diabetes, the risk always remains. So if today I get a patient who lost 10 kgs, he went off medication. Okay, but that does not mean that he can go around and eat whatever he wants and do whatever he wants, because the moment he starts gaining weight again, the diabetes will come back. So there is no way to clear the risk. So even
What
if
would be,
yeah,
sorry, what would be the method to reverse diabetes? You already mentioned weight loss. Besides that, would walking, exercise, or anything else, or
it
diet?
does help. It does help. So see, diabetes can be reversed in the first 5 years after diagnosis. Okay, once those first 5 years are gone, then reversal becomes very difficult. And the more the number of years of diabetes, the more difficult it is to reverse it. Okay, but with good diet, with good walking, you can restrict or reduce the number of medications that you're taking.
Thank you.
And sometimes it can even help to stop the insulin. Sometimes,
Okay.
not in all patients. Yeah.
Doctor, you explained pre-diabetes. Could you tell exactly what is type 1 and type 2 diabetes? I didn't follow that. What is exactly type 1 and type 2?
So type 2 diabetes is what we commonly see, or if you have any relatives and all, the ones who say that, okay, you should eat well, you should lose weight. So type 2 diabetes is purely a lifestyle related condition. It happens because, of course, genetic factors hai, but it mainly happens because of our nature or because of our poor lifestyle. Type 1 diabetes is a very accidental condition. It's an autoimmune condition. So what happens is in type 1 diabetes, our immune system goes berserk. Our immune system attacks our pancreatic cells without realizing that they are our own cells, and they destroy all the cells which make insulin. So type 1 diabetes is not something that can be prevented. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And type 1 diabetes often is seen in children. And for these children, the only treatment is insulin. We can't give them any tablets. They have to be treated with only insulin. So that is the difference between type 1 and type 2. Type 2 is preventable. Type 2 can be managed with lifestyle, with tablets, with good diet. But we can't, that doesn't apply to type 1. Type 1 management is completely different.
Okay, so most of us, what we have is type 2.
Yes, what we see commonly is type 2. The statistics that I talk about, they're all type 2.
And that photograph you showed of Goregaon station, I don't know. I just want to, I mean, what I've been experiencing is it's such a vicious cycle that once you are obese and then you have knee pain and everything. So walking up the stairs is very, very difficult. And if you give me the option, I would never go for walking on the steps. I'd rather go by lift or go by the escalator, because by the time I reach the top, I'm panting and it's difficult. It's weighing on my knees and so on and so forth. At the same time, I agree with you. It is good to walk up the stairs rather than go on the escalator. But it's such a vicious cycle. Like, don't know how to get out of it.
I know. So that picture that I showed, that if you see, they're all young, office going people. So anyway, that's why I said you have to follow what your body can support you. So if you have knee pain, going up the staircase is not a good idea. In fact, walking also is not a very good idea. Then you should go for some kind of a low intensity aerobic exercise. That helps. And you can go for knee strengthening exercises. So those help to reduce the pain in the knee. You can go for core strengthening exercises like yoga. Yoga, they do a lot of core strengthening. So, or Pilates, like that.
Are these D3 and calcium tablets good to reduce these joint pains and knee pain or whatever?
So, see, if you have normal vitamin D levels in your body, then there is no, you will still get osteoporosis because of age and other things. But if you have a vitamin D deficiency, it affects your bones, and it can cause something that we call as osteomalacia in adults. So to prevent osteomalacia, and which leads to joint pain and other things, you should maintain your vitamin D levels. Okay. And especially in women after menopause, because of the hormonal changes in the body, there is some amount of osteoporosis that occurs. That is why we always recommend that they should take calcium supplements once they are in the menopausal age group.
But do these calcium supplements, do they have a adverse effect on the kidney? Like
no.
Okay.
In some people who have a tendency to develop kidney stones, there we don't give calcium supplement because they have a tendency of excreting calcium in the urine. So then we don't give extra calcium to them.
Doctor.
Otherwise, not everyone.
Hello.
Yeah. And this calcium stop for some time. No, you have to stop it up.
Yeah, you can take a break. You can take a break in between. Yes.
Doctor.
Yes.
I was taking calcium tablets, and then over a period of time, there was calcification formed in my shoulder.
Okay.
So, what was the reason for that? Is it because I was taking the calcium tablets?
No, then the shoulder joint, no?
Yes, yes.
That is periarthritis of the shoulder. That's not because of the calcium supplements. It's frozen shoulder.
No, not frozen. There was calcification formed. The X-ray showed calcification formed in the joint.
Okay, that can just be an abnormality. That's not because of the calcium supplement.
Okay.
So if you're in the WhatsApp group, somebody has asked, I have a sister-in-law who
Yeah,
has
that's me.
diabetes and BP. I'll have to see her to give you a reason for that. There could be so
Okay.
many reasons for it.
Okay.
And somebody has asked for my number, which if you want, I'll just share the last slide. If any of you all want, you all can, take it down there. Here.
Can you share your number on the group, please?
Yeah, Mr. Roy, I had shared the flyer, no?
I have already shared this earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can take a photo of this. My number is here. The one mentioned here.
Yeah. Okay. No,
Yes,
it's in
it
the
is
group.
already there on the group.
Yeah.
You're on WhatsApp?
Yes, I'm there on WhatsApp. Okay. So I think I'll let you all go. It's time for lunch. I'm sure you all are hungry.
Thank you so much.
Doctor, 1 minute. If you
Yeah.
stop your share, there are two small announcements I want to make.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I've stopped sharing.
First is, traditionally we have a thank you speech given by someone. That will come last now. I am delighted to have my teacher, Mr. Hariram Chaudhary, who joined us today. Sir, if you can put your video on. Yeah. I have been with assisting Mr. Hariram. He is one of the experts of the RTI, and he is in charge of the Bombay Congress cell for RTI throughout, and he's a person who is well renowned in entire Maharashtra for his RTI activities. And I had the opportunity of assisting him for maybe 2 or 3 months before pandemic took over. So, sir, in this pandemic, I'd like to tell you that these are some of the activities that we are doing. It's almost 2 years now that we are active in various fields, and we have had legal people arrive on this platform. If you could do a session with us, is it possible, sir? RTI. Hariram Chaudhary, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Roy. Thank you, Mr. Roy.
Will you be able to do a session with us?
On RTI?
Yes.
On
RTI.
Yes, certainly. I'll be very happy to do on RTI, and you can
Yes.
fix the date at least 1 month in advance, and I'll be happy to arrange the lecture.
So I'll coordinate with you. Acha, our Madhu ji is also there. I think she'll coordinate with you.
Madhu Kalro ji, yeah. She will be,
I can see her.
yeah.
Acha, that's one thing. And also happy to see a couple of doctors on the platform. Very nice. And if all of you can put, whoever is possible, if you're on your beds, it's a different thing. But otherwise, if you can put your videos on, we have the traditional snap taking, If you can put your videos on. Okay, I'll just take a snapshot. And this will be our way of saying thank you to Dr. Anushri Mehta. Because all these sessions they do are for free.
Share the snapshot with me later on.
I'm happy to say Marina from Lokhandwala and Yvonne from Londonwala. And Gracie Govia, Sally, we would like to keep your video on.
My photograph is better than the video.
1 minute. Let me see how the shot has come. Okay, we have got about 9 of us. I wish more of us had put our videos on. Maria is there. She can put. Angela doesn't have a thing. Angela, I'm going to gift you a phone with a video on it, so that you have no excuse now.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now Sabina, 1 minute. Some more have come. Let me see. Okay, and the last part of our program today is we have had the pleasure of listening to Dr. Anushri, courtesy Sabina Dadlani, who brought her on the platform. Like this, all of you who have contacts with somebody or the other can bring. This is we don't pay anyone, we don't charge anyone, and there is no caste creed, nothing. Anybody can come, listen, gain knowledge, gain some kind of information, and take off. We have about 10 different kinds of. If anybody is new first time, you just write to me, and I will tell you the kind of program that we do. Sabina, if you will propose a vote of thanks to Dr. Anushri. Sabina, you'll have to unmute yourself first. You'll have to unmute. I think what happened to Sabina? She's gone to ask someone. Sabina, are you there? All of us are feeling hungry. Okay, doesn't matter. Errol, would you like to propose? Sabina is gone. Errol, you are muted.
Thank you, Dr. Anushri. It was very nice listening to you. You gave us some hope.
Sorry.
Sabina, we have got Errol now proposing the vote.
Yeah. Please carry on. Thank you so much, Anushri ji. Thank you. Sorry, I'll have to leave the meeting. There's some urgent work.
But you should have told and gone now. You thought where you are going.
There was a doorbell and I just went to open the door actually.
Okay, no worries.
Bye. Thank you very much, Anushri ji. Thank you, Mr. Roy.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Errol has taken your part.
Thank you, Doctor. It was a very important topic, especially for all of us in India. And thank you, Mr. Roy, for hosting this session and for all the sessions that you've been hosting. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. And for those of you who don't know, I'll just go a little sidetrack. Errol is also known as Captain Errol Fernandez, who has his own tours and travels. And he was my neighbor in Mahim. But besides that, I've had the opportunity of traveling with him to the Holy Lands. And he does these trips on regular basis. Of course, this pandemic has shaken all of us, and it has shaken him also. But you can remember the face. So the next time you go to Mahim, you can block your seat. I would fully recommend him compared to everybody else.
Thank you, Roy, so much.
Welcome.
Tell us if you have any tours in the near future.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll give you Errol's contact later. Because Errol, we had booked, after the Holy Land, we had booked a tour with him on the Eastern Europe. But unfortunately, the pandemic struck and we all got stuck. So now I'm just waiting for the pandemic to subside. And then Errol will give us a signal and then we go with him one more time.
Yeah.
Worth it. So with that, we come. Doctor, thank you so much. You've been very kind and patient. And what more can I say? I'll just share your number with the group, and everybody will get in touch with you. Because I posted it wherever possible, because most of us are diabetic. Whether we admit it or not, we have this, either genetically or by virtue of eating habits, or you name it, whatever way. Madhuji would like to add some. Madhuji is my colleague along with Hariram sir. Madhuji, you would like to say something? No, you are muted, Madhuji. Madhu Kalra, you are muted. Okay, I think we are having a lot of muting problems here. So with that, we'll end today's session. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you.
God bless us all.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Thank you, Hariram sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you,
Thank you,
doctor.
Roy.
It was very
You want from
informative.
London?
Very informative. Thank you.
Yes.
Very informative.
Thank you.
Roy, I didn't get yesterday's morning session.
I posted it on YouTube. You have to
But how do I get it? I don't think I'm on that group, I think.
I'll add you to the group.
And I wanted that. That was a very good session yesterday in the morning.
Coming up with some exciting programs now.
Yeah, I only hope I can make it with the time difference, but I'll try definitely.
Yeah. So just join
I missed
the group.
Yvonne's session
By
yesterday.
being a part of the group, you don't have to attend the session.
Yeah, I followed Yvonne's on the group yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I had missed it. But in the morning, I'm not in that group, I think. I don't have the mornings.
Yesterday evening session, I didn't see you.
No, I was busy. I couldn't manage.
But you watched the
because
YouTube.
the time difference is there, no? So
Yes.
Have you
difficult
put the link
nowadays.
on the group of the
Yes, it's on the group.
Okay.
But yesterday mornings, I would love to hear.
All the groups.
Yeah, I'm there on Medicipedia, on the legal matters.
No, this was on careers.
Acha, okay. No,
I'm not in the careers group. If you can add me, please. I want to listen to him. He was very good.
If Sally wants, I can add her too. If Doris
Thank you
wants,
so
I can
much.
add her too. It all depends. There's no choice. You have to make a request and you are added.
To my friend? No. Okay.
Thank you, Roy. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
Welcome. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you, Roy.
Welcome. Bye, Joyce.
Visible.
I'll end this session then. Yeah.